Hi, hello, namaste, welcome to Study IQ. So, my dear friends, in this particular video lecture, we will be discussing the current affairs related to Andhra Pradesh from January to February. And in the following videos, we will cover the March month and April month current affairs. So before we jump into the current affairs, here is an important announcement that Study IQ is providing wide variety of courses related to various competitive examinations. So if you are interested in those particular courses, you can visit the website. So go ahead and get the course which you want and fulfill your dream to become a government servant. So first we will discuss about a topic called Jagananna Ammavadi. So Jagananna Ammavadi is a scheme by the Andhra Pradesh government, and what are the important aspects of this particular scheme that we need to understand. Now here you can see certain pictures which I have taken from the newspaper that are presented here. So in the first picture you can see that no mother shall be deprived of sending her children to school because of poverty. With this motto, Jagananna government for the second year in a row to deposit 15,000 rupees directly into the accounts of poor and needy mothers today under Jagananna Ammavadi. So this Jagananna Ammavadi scheme is a scheme through which the government wants to ensure that nobody is deprived of education just because they are poor. So the government is of the view to provide financial assistance to the woman of the house so that she can arrange all the necessary things for the education of her children. So for that purpose, the government is providing huge sum of amount, and out of that, each mother would be given a financial assistance of 15,000, and this 15,000 would be given to a poor family, okay, the poor mother. So the students, means the children of that particular woman should be studying in the government schools, and even if they are studying in any other schools also, they will be getting this particular benefit. So if they are eligible for this particular scheme, they will get this particular benefit. And the students studying from classes 1 to intermediate, all those students would be getting this particular financial assistance under Jagananna Ammavadi. So the Andhra Pradesh government, it has deposited 6,673 crores of rupees recently in the month of January directly into the accounts of the beneficiaries. How many beneficiaries were there? Around 44,48,865 mothers. Their bank accounts were credited with 15,000 rupees each. And with this, 84 lakh children were able to go to the schools and have all the necessary educational aids they want for their education. Now in the next slides, we can see that there are certain other schemes which we have to discuss, which are to some extent they are interrelated. So as we were discussing about the financial assistance for the education of the poor families, that is Jagananna Ammavadi. Now the next scheme that is related to the education is Manabadi Nadu Nedu. Now see, the government schools, we know what kind of infrastructure is present in the government schools. So the Andhra Pradesh government, when Mr. Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy came to power, he made sure that the government schools infrastructure would be developed well. So for that purpose, he has started a scheme called Manabadi Nadu Nedu, through which the government's intention was to revamp the infrastructure that was available. So they wanted to change the way the government schools used to look, and the government is of the intention to provide all the necessary aids, necessary infrastructure that is necessary for providing best education for the children of the Andhra Pradesh. So, to revamp the entire educational infrastructure in around 45,484 government schools and 471 government junior colleges and 151 government degree colleges and 3,287 government hostels and other Anganwadis also. So, the government wanted to provide better infrastructure in these educational institutions, and for that, the government wanted to spend around 14,000 crore rupees in 3 phases. So under this particular scheme, the government would be providing facilities like proper drinking water, clean toilets and better furniture, compound walls, painting of classrooms, and the repairing and the finishing that has to be done in certain schools, and green boards, all the other electricity equipment, all these things would be provided. And yes, the midday meal is being provided by the government. So definitely the government wanted to provide a special kitchen for each school, so that the midday meal program is implemented properly in these schools. So that was all about the Manabadi Nadu Nedu program. Now coming to the other issue that is related to the education sector of Andhra Pradesh, that is English as a medium of instruction. Of course, there were so many people who were opposing this particular move by the Andhra Pradesh government, saying that mother tongue is the best medium of providing the basic education, but the government wants to change that. So it will have a great impact on the children who are at a very early age. They can't understand and they can't adapt to this particular dynamic change in the medium of education. But the government is having its own plans, and the government's intention is to make the government schools the schools where the mother tongue is also given importance and the medium of study is English. So if we are having the English medium as the medium of language in the government educational institutions, then in the future and in the further higher education level, the students would be having a benefit, and they would have a better advantage compared to the other state government schools. Okay, so for that purpose, the government introduced this particular aspect of having English as the medium of instruction in the government schools. So the government said that from primary level, to ensure that the poor children can also compete at national and international levels on par with the children of affluent families, the government is trying to introduce English as medium of instruction in the government schools. Now let us move ahead and discuss about another scheme that is related to the education, that is Jagananna Vidya Divina. Again, this is also something related to the education. Now, with the objective of helping poor children to pursue higher education, the government, like nowhere else in the country, it is extending total fee reimbursement facility at a cost of 4,101 crores for students of SC, ST, BC, EBC, KAPU, differently abled minority and poor students who are pursuing their degree, medical, engineering and polytechnic courses. So in simple words, what is this? It is nothing but a fee reimbursement program by the government of Andhra Pradesh. So in a single sentence, if I ask you what is Jagananna Vidya Divina, it is the fee reimbursement program of the government of Andhra Pradesh. So all the students who are belonging to different communities like SC, ST, backward classes and economically backward classes, Kapu community, as there was a backlash from that particular community saying that they were not being provided good opportunities in various aspects of the society. So they demanded the government to take a note of the thing that their community is lagging behind in terms of getting the opportunity. So they are also being provided, and of course the differently abled, the minority and poor students, all those students who are pursuing degree, medical education or who are pursuing their engineering or polytechnic courses, they would be provided a sum which is equal to their college fee. So that particular fee reimbursement is nothing but Jagananna Vidya Divina. Clear? Now let us move ahead and discuss about Jagananna Vidya Kanuka and Jagananna Gorumudda, which are also to some extent related to the education sector. Now first we will discuss about Jagananna Vidya Kanuka. Now under this Jagananna Vidya Kanuka, certain educational aids are very important for the students to go ahead in pursuing their education. So they need, what are the things they need? They need books, they need bag, they need other things like the shoes or the uniform. So all these things would be provided by the government to the children by the time the school reopens. So the students of classes 1 to 10 in all the government and aided schools, they would be provided a kit named Jagananna Vidya Kanuka. In that particular kit, there would be 3 pairs of uniform with stitching charges. Okay. And school bag, textbooks, notebooks, workbooks, belt, socks and shoes. We have discussed this particular scheme earlier also in the current affairs video. But here, as we are discussing these things, as these were provided as an advertisement in the newspaper, so I thought by discussing these things, it would be very helpful for you. Okay. Now, let us move on to the next scheme, that is Jagananna Gorumudda. So with the intention of providing healthy cooked food, nutritious and delicious food to the students who are studying in the government and aided schools across the state, to provide this nutritious food to them, the government has started this scheme called Jagananna Gorumudda. Jagananna Gorumudda scheme is all about providing nutritious healthy food to the children. Okay, so there will be a change in menu every day. Okay, throughout the week the menu will be changing day by day, and about 37 lakh students who are studying in about 45,484 government and aided schools across the state, they would be provided with the nutritious food. Even during the COVID-19 crisis, as the students can't go to schools, so through volunteers, the government has tried to provide the nutritious food in the form of dry ration to the doorsteps of the students. Previous government has spent 520 crore rupees at an average per year. That is what the present government is claiming, and the present government is also claiming that the government is spending about 1,456 crore rupees, which is 3 times higher than what the previous government has spent. Okay, I haven't gone through the exact expenditure thing. If we get the socio-economic survey, then we can have a better idea about this particular thing. But of course, the government is claiming. We don't know whether this particular claim is correct or not, but of course the government is saying, so let us believe it. Now let's move ahead and discuss about a new thing. So till now we have discussed about certain schemes by the government of Andhra Pradesh which are related to the education and the students of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, now let us move ahead and discuss about this startup area that would be developed in Krishnapatnam node. Now first thing, what is Krishnapatnam node? See, as a part of the Chennai-Bangalore Industrial Corridor, the Krishnapatnam node is being developed. Now this Krishnapatnam node is all related to the Krishnapatnam port. Now where is this Krishnapatnam port? It is in Nellore district. Now industrially it has more importance, so that's why this Krishnapatnam node is being developed. So the government is of the view to develop a startup area in the Krishnapatnam node so that the startups can have a better ecosystem, better financial ecosystem, and they can have a better incubation so that they can move ahead in their journey of financial prosperity. So for that purpose, the government is developing this startup area in Krishnapatnam node. The Competition Commission of India has approved the acquisition of Krishnapatnam Port Company Limited by Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited. We will discuss about this last point in the coming slides, so don't worry about that. So let's move ahead and discuss about the next issue. Now that next issue is Bauddha Mela and Bojjannakonda. Now first of all, let me tell you what is Bojjannakonda. Bojjannakonda, as we have discussed it in the AP history lectures that are provided by Study IQ, that is ABPSC course. So in that we have discussed about the importance of Bojjannakonda. But right now, regarding this particular thing, let me give you a short note. Bojjannakonda is a Buddhist heritage site. Now this Buddhist heritage site is in Andhra Pradesh. Now where this Buddhist site is there in Andhra Pradesh, generally this particular site is located near a village called Sankaram. Okay, generally Bojjannakonda is having caves, okay, the Buddhist caves. So they are located near a village called Sankaram. Now this Sankaram is a few kilometers away from Anakapalli. Okay, it is clear. Now you have got the location. Now let me tell you, Bojjannakonda and Lingalakonda, these two are two Buddhist rock cut caves on adjacent hillocks. Ante pakka pakkane unnatuvanti chinnapati kondalapaina unnatuvanti Bauddha kshetrale Bojjannakonda, Lingalakonda. Remember this point. Now why this particular Bojjannakonda place was in news? First thing, there was a Buddhist festival that was being celebrated, that is Bauddha Mela. Not festival, a fair we can say. So annual Bauddha Mela is conducted on the day of Kanuma. So on the day of Kanuma in January, this Bauddha Mela is conducted annually at Bojjannakonda. So this festival was organized by Visakha Bauddha Sanghara Samakhya and Siddhartha Social Services and Cultural Association. But the other issue related to this Bojjannakonda is that there was a controversy around this Bojjannakonda. What was that controversy? The government was planning to have a film city, and it also wanted to give certain land for the development of tourist projects around Bojjannakonda. So the archaeological survey, that particular department has produced the maps and said that to certain extent the land belongs to the archaeological survey, and the other lands which are adjacent to this particular Bojjannakonda, which is adjacent to the Buddhist heritage site, that is being given for the tourism development project and the other film club development project. Now there was a controversy around this. Now the Buddhist supporters or the members of the Vishakha Bauddha Sanghala Samakhya, they have raised an issue saying that the land belonging to the Buddhist heritage site, that is being encroached upon, and still this particular Buddhist heritage site, that is Bojjannakonda, it has to be excavated, and the archaeologists can get some more information about the flourishing of the Buddhism in Andhra Pradesh, especially in the northern Andhra, in coastal Andhra. So instead of conducting the excavations and finding about the heritage, the rich heritage of Andhra Pradesh, the government is trying to sell the land. The government is trying to allocate this particular land for other commercial purposes. That was their claim. So the entire analysis about this particular thing is provided as a separate video by Veronica ma'am, I think. So you can find that particular video in YouTube. Just find out that particular video in the search box, writing as Bojjannakonda Study IQ. You will get the entire information about this particular Bojjannakonda controversy. Okay, that's why I'm not discussing this particular issue here. So let's jump over to the next issue, that is Orvakal Airport. Now, this Orvakal Airport was in news because this particular airport was started by the government. Now, this particular airport is in Kurnool. Okay. Now, this Kurnool airport was named after Uyyalawada Narasimhareddy. Saira Narasimhareddy movie మీరు చూసుంటారు. సైరా నరసింహారెడ్డి మూవీలో ఉయ్యలవాడ నరసింహారెడ్డి గురించి చర్చించడం జరిగింది. సో అదే ఉయ్యలవాడ నరసింహారెడ్డి గారి పేరుని ఇక్కడ ఈ ఓర్వకల్ ఎయిర్పోర్ట్ కి పెట్టడం జరిగింది. In order to develop Kurnool as a major town in the Rayalaseema region, the first step was taken in the form of opening an airport called Orvakal Airport. So through this Orvakal Airport, services to Bangalore, Visakhapatnam and Chennai would be provided. So Kurnool is this Orvakal Airport is the 6th civilian airport in the state after Visakhapatnam, Tirupati, Vijayawada, Rajahmundry, Kadapa. See, మన దగ్గర మన ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ లో ఉన్నటువంటి ముఖ్యమైనటువంటి విమానాశ్రయాల్లో విశాఖపట్నం, తిరుపతి, విజయవాడ, రాజమండ్రి, కడప ఉండేవి. వాటితో పాటుగా ఇప్పుడు కొత్తగా వచ్చి చేరినటువంటి ఎయిర్పోర్ట్ ఏది అంటే ఓర్వకల్ ఎయిర్పోర్ట్. సో ఈ ఓర్వకల్ ఎయిర్పోర్ట్ కి ఉయ్యలవాడ నరసింహారెడ్డి గారి పేరుని ఇవ్వడం జరిగింది. This Kurnool services, the airport that is there in Kurnool, here the services that are provided, they are provided to Bengaluru, Visakhapatnam and Chennai. One more important thing, this particular airport is developed under the regional connectivity scheme called Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, ఉడాన్ అనే ఒక స్కీమ్ ఉందండి. ఉడాన్ అనే పదానికి ఫుల్ ఫామ్ ఏంటి అంటే ఊడే దేశ్ కా ఆమ్ నాగరిక్, అంటే దేశంలో ఉన్నటువంటి ప్రతి మామూలు మనిషి, ప్రతి కామన్ మ్యాన్ కూడాను ఫ్లైట్ జర్నీ చేసే విధంగా అవకాశాలని కల్పించడమే ఇక్కడ ప్రభుత్వం ఆలోచించినటువంటి ఆలోచన. సో ఫర్ దట్ పర్పస్ దిస్ పర్టిక్యులర్ రీజనల్ కనెక్టివిటీ స్కీమ్ కాల్డ్ ఉడే దేశ్ కా ఆమ్ నాగరిక్, that is Udan, was brought, and under that particular scheme this airport was started, this airport was developed. So coming to the viability gap funding regarding this particular scheme, the center and Andhra Pradesh government will be sharing the expenditure for this particular scheme on the ratio of 80:20. That means 80% of the expenditure would be borne by the central government and 20% by the Andhra Pradesh government. Clear? So this was all about Orvakal Airport. Now let us move ahead and discuss about the other news, that is Constitution of Architectural Board by the government of Andhra Pradesh. The government of Andhra Pradesh has constituted a board called as APSAB, that is Andhra Pradesh State Architectural Board. Now it was said that the chairman for this particular board would be the Minister of Finance of Andhra Pradesh government. Okay, so he will be the chairman of this particular board. But for what purpose this particular Andhra Pradesh State Architectural Board was formed, that we need to understand. For standardization of architectural designs, architectural plans, elevations and the cost estimates and other such kind of things, this particular board was formed. See, if you are having a particular government building, you should have a plan. If you are regularizing certain building structures in the city, in any state, in any district of Andhra Pradesh, then this particular board will be standardizing those architectural designs, and it will take actions on the plans, elevations and the cost estimates also. So this particular APSAB will be having 12 members including the chairman, and the chairman would be the Minister of Finance. Okay. Now, this APSAB will establish a mechanism at the state level for standardization of architectural designs, as I have told you earlier, and standardization of plans, elevation, cost estimates to ensure that the outcomes are realized on field. If the government is of the view to have a particular dam to provide irrigation water to a dryland area, then the plan that is being made, that plan will be made in such a way that the outcome is equal to the expectation of the government. So to ensure that the outcomes are realized on field, అంటే క్షేత్ర స్థాయిలో ప్రభుత్వం యొక్క ఆలోచనలు ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో, ప్రభుత్వం యొక్క ఆబ్జెక్టివ్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో అవి పూర్తి స్థాయిలో విజయవంతమయ్యేటట్టుగా చూడాల్సినటువంటి బాధ్యత ఇక్కడ ఆర్కిటెక్చరల్ బోర్డు దండి. అందుకోసమనే ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ స్టేట్ ఆర్కిటెక్చరల్ బోర్డ్ ని పెట్టడం జరిగింది. సో దిస్ వాజ్ ఆల్ ది ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అబౌట్ ది APSAB. Now let us discuss about the new chief of RTC, that is the Road Transport Corporation. We all know that the Andhra Pradesh Road Transport Corporation employees have been considered as the government employees. Okay, so the corporation is considered as a government entity. Okay, all the employees are also considered as government employees. Now, the chief of this RTC, the APS RTC has always been an IPS officer. ఇప్పటి వరకు ఉన్నటువంటి కమిషనర్స్ ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో, ఓకే, అంటే ఈ ఏపీఎస్ ఆర్టీసీకి సంబంధించినటువంటి మేనేజింగ్ డైరెక్టర్, నాట్ కమిషనర్, మేనేజింగ్ డైరెక్టర్ ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో ఎప్పుడు కూడాను ఐపీఎస్ ఆఫీసర్స్ నే మేనేజింగ్ డైరెక్టర్స్ గా పెట్టారు ఏపీఎస్ ఆర్టీసీ. సో ఈసారి ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ రాష్ట్ర రోడ్డు రవాణా సంస్థకు సంబంధించినటువంటి మేనేజింగ్ డైరెక్టర్ గా, వైస్ చైర్మన్ గా ఎవరిని ఎంపిక చేశారంటే 1986 సంవత్సరానికి చెందినటువంటి ఐపీఎస్ ఆఫీసర్ అయిన ఆర్పి ఠాకూర్ గారు. శ్రీ గౌరవనీయులైనటువంటి ఆర్పి ఠాకూర్ గారిని ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ రాష్ట్ర రోడ్డు రవాణా సంస్థ ఏపీఎస్ ఆర్టీసీ, ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ స్టేట్ రోడ్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ కార్పొరేషన్ కి వైస్ చైర్మన్ గా మరియు మేనేజింగ్ డైరెక్టర్ గా ఎంపిక చేయటం జరిగింది. సో యూ నీడ్ టు రిమెంబర్ దిస్ పర్టిక్యులర్ ఫ్యాక్ట్ విచ్ వుడ్ బి హెల్ప్ఫుల్ ఇన్ యువర్ ఎగ్జామ్స్. ఓకే, నౌ let us discuss a very important news related to Andhra Pradesh, that is Niti Aayog Innovation Index 2.0. We all know what is Niti Aayog. Okay, the Niti Aayog has been brought in the place of the Planning Commission. Now this Niti Aayog has published a report regarding the Innovation Index. Now this particular report is called as Niti Aayog's Innovation Index 2020 report. Now in this particular report, what is the position of Andhra Pradesh, that we need to understand. Now, before going through that particular facts, we need to understand how the innovation index is calculated. Now, in order to calculate the rankings of the states, the skilled human resources available in that particular state, the ease of doing business, the legalities, knowledge dissemination, health and education, all these things are considered to decide the ranking of each state in our country. Clear? Now, in this particular innovation index report of 2020, Karnataka got the first rank. So Karnataka is on the top position in terms of innovation index continuously in the second year, means in a row. Earlier also Karnataka was on the top place. Now here in the second year also Karnataka is on the top place. Now Maharashtra is on the second place and Bihar is in last place. Okay, till now whatever the information is there, it is at the national level. Now what about both the Telugu states? ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ 24.19 స్కోర్ తో 7వ పొజిషన్ లో ఉందండి. ఏ స్థానంలో ఉంది? 7వ స్థానంలో. ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ స్టాండ్స్ అట్ 7th పొజిషన్ విత్ స్కోర్ ఆఫ్ 24.19 points. Okay, and Telangana stands at a better position as compared to Andhra Pradesh, that is fourth position, and Telangana is having a score of 33.23 points. Okay, so here we need to understand that Telangana is in a better position as compared to Andhra Pradesh. Of course, Andhra Pradesh has to do so much more in order to develop its financial position and the financial infrastructure as well. Okay, so many challenges are there in front of Andhra Pradesh. So that's why we can say that Andhra Pradesh is lagging behind in this innovation index report. But whatever may be the reasons, here we are having the facts in front of us that Andhra Pradesh stands at 7th position and Telangana stands at 4th position. So we have discussed about Niti Aayog Innovation Index. Now let us discuss about district police launched a scheme, and what is that particular scheme? That is Sankalpam. Sankalpam అనేటువంటి ఒక స్కీమ్ ని విశాఖపట్నంలో ఉన్నటువంటి ఏజెన్సీ ప్రాంతంలో అంటే గిరిజన ప్రాంతాల్లో రాష్ట్ర పోలీసు శాఖ ఈ సంకల్పం అనేటువంటి ప్రోగ్రామ్ ని రన్ చేస్తుంది. సో వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ Sankalpam program? Now this Sankalpam program is a scheme or a program by the police department to provide skill development courses to the young people in the agency areas. Okay, we all know that the tribal people, they are much away from the development. Whatever the schemes that are there provided by the government, they are not reaching to the full extent to the tribal people. Now, in order to ensure that these tribal people are not brainwashed by the Maoists and these tribal people does not suffer from poverty, and to ensure that these tribal young population are having proper employment opportunities, the police department, the district police of Visakhapatnam has came up with this particular scheme called Sankalpam. Now this particular program is organized in affiliation with ITDA Paderu and APSSDC, that is Andhra Pradesh State Skill Development Corporation, and NGO called Dandakaranya Instructional Society. Now, why we are discussing about this particular program? See, it is a local issue, but still we are discussing because in the Group 1 examination, while writing the mains answers or while attending the interview, if there is a question about how the police is trying to help the tribal people, how the police is trying to get closer to the public, then you can add this particular program as an example, saying that the police is helping the public, is helping the tribal people in this way. So this may be a good point. With the view of this, I am providing this particular fact here. Now let us discuss about the Padma Vibhushan award. Now the previous year, the Padma Vibhushan was provided to Sri Panditaradhyula Balasubramaniam Garu and Shinzo Abe. Okay, now this Padma Vibhushan was provided to two people. One person was Sri great legendary singer SPB, our loved voice. Okay, so he is no more. It is a great loss to the Telugu cultural heritage. Posthumously, he was given this award. Former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Sripati Panditaradhyula Balasubramaniam Garu was conferred with Padma Vibhushan. Okay, remember this point. We are discussing this because he was our great singer. So for so many decades, he has been the voice, the sweet voice of Telugu people. Okay, so he was conferred with Padma Vibhushan. So along with this particular fact, we will also try to understand the awards that were given to other people also. Okay, so this year Padma Vibhushan were given to certain other people also. So we will try to understand who were all other people who got this particular award. Now, as we know, in the field of public affairs, the Japan's former Prime Minister Shri Shinzo Abe got this Padma Vibhushan, and posthumously Shri SP Balasubramaniam Garu was given this particular award for the contribution in the field of art. So generally he belongs to both the states, that is Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Okay, his origin was from Tamil Nadu, but basically he is a Telugu person. So we will consider both the states. Okay, and for the field of medicine, Dr. Belle Monappa Hegde, he was conferred with Padma Vibhushan. He hails from Karnataka, and in terms of spiritualism, person from Delhi, Mr. Maulana Wahiduddin Khan, he was conferred the Padma Vibhushan. And for the field of archaeology, Shri B.B. Lal was conferred with Padma Vibhushan. He hails from Delhi, and posthumously an engineer was given this particular award for his contribution in the field of science and engineering, and he was none other than Shri Narendra Singh Kapani, and he hails from USA. Basically, he was an Indian, but he went to USA. Okay. And finally, Shri Sudarshan Sahu, he hails from Odisha, and he is
a great sculptor. He has created so many sculptures with his art, such a beautiful sculptures by seeing which you will feel happy, and the historic traditions and all these things are reflected in his sculptures.
So all these 7 people were awarded with the Padma Vibhushan. Okay. Now again, here we are having another award known as Veturi Award. Now this Veturi Award was presented to Bhuvan Chandra. Now first thing is that this award was the 11th Veturi Literary Award. Which one? 11th Veturi Literary Award, and it was presented to the renowned movie lyricist Bhuvan Chandra. Bhuvan Chandra garu adbhuతమైనటువంటి తెలుగు పాటలు రాశారు. సో ఒక గేయ రచయితగా అతను రాసినటువంటి పాటల్లో ఉండేటువంటి తెలుగు యొక్క మధురతనం బ్రహ్మాండంగా ఉంటుందండి. సో ఒక్కసారి మీరు యూట్యూబ్ లో అతని పాటలు గనక చూసినట్లయితే అతని రచనలో ఉన్నటువంటి గొప్పతనం, తెలుగులో ఉన్నటువంటి మాధుర్యం మీకు అర్థమవుతుంది. సో దిస్ పర్టిక్యులర్ 11th Veturi Literary Award was jointly awarded by Veturi Sahiti Peetham and Sri Prakash Cultural Association. So here in the picture you can see he is our honorable lyricist Bhuvana Chandra garu. So he was awarded with this Veturi Award. Now Veturi Sundaramurthy garu, we know he was the greatest Telugu lyricist ever we have seen. The kind of words, the Telugu words he uses in his songs, they were just beautiful. Just the way the Mother Earth shows you the beauty of the nature, he shows the beauty of nature in his words. వేటూరి సుందరమూర్తి గారి పాటలు వెనక ఉన్నటువంటి సాహిత్యాన్ని మీరు ఒకసారి చూసినట్లయితే తెలుగు యొక్క గొప్పతనం అంటే ఏంటో మీకు ఒక్కసారిగా అర్థమవుతుంటుంది. మనసుకి హత్తుకునేటువంటి పదాలతో, అలాగే మనలో ఉన్నటువంటి ఆలోచనల్ని ప్రభావితం చేసేటువంటి శక్తి కలిగినటువంటి పదాల్ని ఆయన చాలా సింపుల్ గా ఒక పద్ధతిగా కూర్చి తెలుగు పాటల్ని అతను రాశారు. ఒక ముఖ్యమైనటువంటి పాట అతను రాసింది ఏంటి అంటే రాలిపోయే పువ్వా నీకు రాగాలెందుకే. సో ఇలాంటి అద్భుతమైన పాటలు చాలా రాశారు. So this Veturi Award was given to lyricist Bhuvana Chandra garu. Okay. Now here there is another news about another award, that is Pravas Bharati Samman. So this Pravas Bharati Samman was given to a Andhra man as well as a Telangana man. So who were these two people? We will try to understand. Now this award was given to a Telugu doctor. His name was Sudhakar Jonnalagadda. So this Sudhakar Jonnalagadda garu, he was a US based doctor, and another person was from Telangana. His name was Mr. Muralidhar Miryala. Now this Muralidhar Miryala was an NRA. So he was a Telangana person. So in Japan he was a scientist. So both these people were awarded the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award. Now what is this particular award that you should know? Pravasa Bharatiya Samman Award is the highest honor conferred by the president. Okay, the president of our country, he confers this particular award as a part of Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Okay, మరి ప్రవాస భారతీయ దివస్ అంటే ఏంటండి? ద డే ఆన్ విచ్ గాంధీజీ has arrived in India. This day is celebrated as Pravasa Bharatiya Divas. Okay, so on this day, this particular Pravasa Bharatiya Samman is given to the non-resident Indians or the person of Indian origin or any organization or institution that is established or run by the NRIs or the person of Indian origin. So this award was given to two Telugu people. One was Mr. Sudhakar Jonnalagadda. He was a doctor and he belongs to Andhra Pradesh. He works in US. Now there is another scientist. He was from Telangana. So he generally works in Japan. His name is Shri Muralidhar Miryala. So both these Telugu people were awarded the prestigious Pravasa Bharatiya Samman. Okay. Now here we are going to discuss in the next slide about Raitu Bharosa police stations. Now we all know what is Raitu Bharosa Kendras, RBKs. We have discussed about the Raitu Bharosa Kendras in the earlier current affairs lectures. We know about that particular thing. So in a village where the farmers need certain agricultural requirements, so to fulfill those agricultural requirements, the government has set up Raitu Bharosa Kendras at the local level. Now, with the help of these Raitu Bharosa Kendras, the government is of the view to provide Raitu Bharosa police stations. Now, for what purpose these particular police stations are being provided and what is the intention behind this, that we need to understand. Now, the Chief Minister, Mr. Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu, he has directed the officials to prepare a plan to set up the Raitu Bharosa police stations at each district, and a help desk would be provided for every farmer in every police station to deal with certain situations which are creating problem to the farmers. Now, farmers face so many problems. Farmers and the aquaculturists. See, in Andhra Pradesh, there are so many aquaculturists who depend on the rivers and as well as the oceans, the coastal areas. So, in order to provide to protect or the safeguard the interests of these farmers and aquaculturists, the Raitu Bharosa police stations are being established. So, for this purpose, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh has directed the officials to prepare a blueprint for this particular aspect. So, the officials of the agricultural department, they will have coordination with the police department, and both the police department and agricultural department officials, they together will form an action plan for setting up of these special police stations for the farmers. So, remember, Raitu Bharosa police stations are meant to safeguard the interests of the farmers. Clear? Now, CM is also of the view to create awareness among the tenant farmers. See, there is a program called Polam Badi program. Now, under this particular program, the farmers are made aware of certain rights, okay, the cultivator rights and other rights which are available for them. So, here CM is of the view to create awareness among the tenant farmers through Polam Badi program. To create awareness on what aspects? To create awareness on Cultivator Rights Act and Crop Cultivator Rights Card, and even certain posters to provide this awareness, certain posters are being set up at each Raitu Bharosa Kendras. So these decisions were taken in a meeting by the Chief Minister. So in this particular aspect, Raitu Bharosa police stations are an important thing. Okay. Now let us move ahead and discuss about an initiative by the State Election Commission, that is E-Watch. Now what is this E-Watch? There was a big controversy around this particular E-Watch app. See, the Panchayat elections were to be conducted in Andhra Pradesh, and yes, they are conducted and the results are also out. But during that particular process, the State Election Commission and the state government both were having a tussle. Both were just claiming injustices done to them by each other. Okay, both were claiming that the other party is not working as per constitution, and there were certain cases that were filed against each other in the High Court also. So that was a big mess. But finally, with the verdict of the High Court, the elections were conducted, and SEC, the State Election Commission, was also working in its way. So, in its process to conduct the elections in a fair way, the SEC has launched an app, Android app called E-Watch. So, E-Watch is an Android app. Why this app was being created? This app was created for reporting the poll violations. ఎక్కడైనా సరే అక్రమంగా మద్యం సరఫరా జరిగినా, ఎక్కడైనా డబ్బులు పంపిణీ జరిగినా, ఎక్కడైనా బెదిరింపులకు పాల్పడినా, ఇటువంటి ఇష్యూస్ ని మనం ఎన్నికలు జరిగే సందర్భంలో ఇటువంటి ఇష్యూస్ ని మనం కంట్రోల్ చేయగలిగితేనే మనం ఇక్కడ ఎలక్షన్స్ అనేవి ఫెయిర్ గా, న్యాయబద్ధంగా, చట్టబద్ధంగా, నీతిగా జరిగేటట్టుగా చూసుకోవచ్చు. సో ఎలక్షన్స్ అనేవి సక్రమంగా జరిగేటట్టు చూడవలసినటువంటి బాధ్యత స్టేట్ ఎలక్షన్ కమిషనర్. సో అందుకోసమని స్టేట్ ఎలక్షన్ కమిషన్ కాస్త ఈ E-Watch అనేటువంటి యాప్ ని తీసుకొచ్చింది. సో దట్ ది ఎలక్షన్స్, ది పంచాయత్ ఎలక్షన్స్ ఆర్ కండక్టెడ్ విత్ టోటల్ ట్రాన్స్పరెన్సీ. Okay. Now, what are the features of this particular app? With this app on the mobile phone, people can participate in the election process with confidence. They can act like warriors in fighting against any kind of high-handedness by any section of society. That is what the statement given by the State Election Commission. So, if anybody is trying to hold control of the election process illegally, he or that particular incident can be reported to the State Election Commission, and the State Election Commission will take proper action on that particular incident. That is what is the intention behind E-Watch app. So the app comes with certain features that enables people to interact with the State Election Commission regarding everything that is related to panchayat polls that were being held in the state. But this particular launching of the eWatch app was challenged in the High Court. The ruling party has challenged the implementation of this app, saying that this app is having certain technical glitches and this app might not be very helpful. Certain allegations were there by the ruling party regarding this particular app, and there was a case in the High Court, and the High Court has asked the SEC to give a clarification on that. And after so much of discussion in the High Court have given a verdict that the usage of this eWatch app should be stopped until conducting the Panchayat elections. So in Panchayat elections, this particular app was not used. Remember this point. But whatever may be the case, the final issue is that the State Election Commission came up with an initiative to conduct the elections with transparency and to involve the public in the process of the election. Okay. Now, let us move ahead and discuss about the cocoa production in Andhra Pradesh. Now, there is a news that Andhra Pradesh state has topped in the cocoa production. So, if we take the entire nation as a whole in terms of cocoa production, Andhra Pradesh state stands tall in this particular respect. Now, first thing, what is cocoa? Cocoa is a fruit which somewhat looks similar to the ripened papaya fruit. It just looks like papaya fruit, but it is smaller in size, and the color and the skin texture is also a little bit different. But in that particular fruit, there are the cocoa seeds. Now, with these seeds, the chocolate powder is being prepared. Remember, whatever the chocolates you eat, in that particular chocolate, there is this cocoa seed powder. Now, that is cocoa from which the chocolate is prepared. Now, in terms of this cocoa production, Andhra Pradesh is standing tall. That means, in terms of the cocoa production, Andhra Pradesh stands at the first place. Now, during 2020-2021 financial year, the Andhra Pradesh state cocoa production stood at 10,903 metric tons. Okay. And the total production of the country, the total cocoa production of our country is 27,072 metric tons. Out of this 10,903 metric tons are only from Andhra Pradesh. This indicates that Andhra Pradesh is producing more cocoa as compared to any other state. And this was possible because of the initiatives that were taken up by the state government, and the state government has been promoting the cocoa cultivation in a big way. So this particular cocoa production was promoted as an intercrop in the state. What is intercropping? ఒక పొలంలో 2-3 పంటల మధ్యలో కొన్ని రకాల పంటల్ని మనం పండించవచ్చు. అలా పండించే విధానాన్ని ఇంటర్ క్రాపింగ్ అంటారు. సో వైల్ కల్టివేటింగ్ కోకోనట్, అరేకా నట్ అండ్ అదర్ పామ్ ట్రీస్, this particular cocoa can also be cultivated in that particular farm area. So that is what cultivation is. So cross cultivation between coconut, areca nut and other palms has resulted in the increased profitability for farmers. So that's why cocoa is being cultivated in Andhra Pradesh at a large scale. So this particular crop is cultivated as an intercrop only in the areas where coconut, areca nut, oil palm and rubber plantations are there. So you can't cultivate everything in a single farm. There are certain combination of crops which can be cultivated through intercropping method. You need to keep that point in mind. So where coconut, areca nut, oil palm or rubber plantations are being cultivated, only in that particular farms this cocoa can be produced. Okay. So the total area under the cultivation of cocoa in Andhra Pradesh was around 11,830 hectares during 2005 and 6. That means before bifurcation. So the total area under cultivation during 2005 and 6 was 11,830 hectares. That was prior to the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh. But now, after bifurcation in 2020-2021 financial year, the total area under the cultivation of cocoa production was 37,488 hectares. That means the area under cultivation of cocoa was way much higher than what was there some 15 years ago. Okay, so these were the statistics which prove the strength of Andhra Pradesh in terms of cocoa production. Okay, now we will discuss about an amendment. Now this amendment is related to the Andhra Pradesh Private University Act of 2006. Now the state government, it is of the view to amend the Andhra Pradesh Private Universities Act 2006. Now, why it is being amended? It is being amended to take 35% of the total seats in private universities and reserve them for students hailing from different socio-economic backward classes. Clear? సో ఇక్కడ విషయం ఏంటంటే ప్రైవేట్ యూనివర్సిటీస్ లో 35% సీట్లు ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో అవి పేదలకి, బడుగు బలహీన వర్గాలకి, వాళ్ళకి ప్రొవైడ్ చేయడానికి, అటువంటి బడుగు బలహీన పేద విద్యార్థులకి ప్రొవైడ్ చేయడానికి ఈ అమెండ్మెంట్ ని, ఈ సవరణని ప్రభుత్వం తీసుకొస్తుందండి. సో విచ్ యాక్ట్ ఈస్ బీయింగ్ అమెండెడ్? ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ప్రైవేట్ యూనివర్సిటీ యాక్ట్ ఆఫ్ 2006. దిస్ ఈస్ బీయింగ్ అమెండెడ్. Now, why this is being done? This is being done to help the poor students who want to have access to quality education in private universities. If you compare the government universities and private universities, there is some difference in terms of the infrastructure, the lab infrastructure that is being provided. So, there are certain section of students who want to join the private universities for better education, for quality education, but they can't because of the financial crunch they have. So, keeping this point in view, the government is of the view to provide opportunity to these poor students to provide access to quality education in private universities. This amendment is being brought by the Andhra Pradesh government. This particular amendment is not brought yet, but the government had a proposal to introduce a bill to amend the Andhra Pradesh Private Universities Act 2006 to reserve 35% seats for the government. Okay, so that is what this amendment is all about. Now we will discuss about one award that is given to the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. That is the Scotch CM of the Year Award. Scotch Award. I have told you earlier in the current affair lectures what is a Scotch Award. This Scotch Award was instituted in 2003 and it is considered as India's highest civilian honor, which is conferred by an independent organization as a third party assessment. Clear? It is not provided by the government but a private entity, an independent organization, a third party assessment. Okay, as a third party assessment. Now, this particular Scotch CM of the Year award was conferred to our Chief Minister Honorable Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu. Okay, so this award was given on the basis of a year-long study of the results of the projects that were being implemented by the state government in various states of the country. Okay, so all the states they were considered and the programs those states were implementing, they were assessed, and based upon the implementation of those schemes, this award was given to the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. What is that award? Scotch CM of the Year award. Okay. Now, after this, there is again a news about another award. Now, this award is PRSI award. Now, this award was given to NTPC Simhadri. Okay, what is NTPC Simhadri? National Thermal Power Corporation Simhadri. Now, where is this unit located? This unit is located in Visakhapatnam. On the outskirts of Visakhapatnam, this super thermal power plant is there. It is a coal fire powered plant. Okay, using coal, thermal power is generated in this particular NTPC Simhadri. So this NTPC Simhadri was conferred the PRSI award 2020. Why this award was given? This award was given for the unique actions taken by the NTPC Simhadri in terms of corporate social responsibility. So what were those unique actions taken by NTPC Simhadri? Those unique actions were taken during the COVID-19 period, and those actions were related to the sanitization of the township areas with sodium hypochlorite by using a fog cannon. Okay, this was there in the news channels also. So NTPC was given this particular award, that is PRSI National Award. Now, what is PRSI Award? PRSI Award is nothing but Public Relations Society of India Award. What is it? Public Relations Society of India National Award. So this award was given to NTPC Simhadri for the corporate social responsibility efforts that were taken up by the NTPC Simhadri during the COVID-19 period for sanitation purpose. Now, let us move ahead and discuss about the PM Kisan Award. Now, Anantapuram and Nellore, both these districts of Andhra Pradesh, they were conferred with PM Kisan Award. Now, what is this PM Kisan Award? Now, this PM Kisan Award is for empowering farmers. Okay, so Anantapuram district has been awarded the PM Kisan National Award for achieving 99.60% of verification of beneficiaries under the central government scheme meant for the farmers. See, PM Kisan is a scheme by the central government for the farmers. So, under that particular scheme, 99.60% of verification of beneficiaries was done in Anantapuram district. So, for that achievement, PM Kisan Award was given to Anantapuram. Now, regarding this PM Kisan scheme, there was one more achievement by the Nellore district. The Nellore district administration also got the PM Kisan Award because it was successful in solving 5,000 grievances of the farmers belonging to Nellore district. So, both the districts have done a better job in two different fields of the same scheme, that is PM Kisan. So, for that purpose, both these Nellore and Anantapuram districts were given PM Kisan Award. Now, as we were discussing about PM Kisan, let me give you a small note about this particular scheme. Under the central government scheme, this PM Kisan scheme, income support of 6,000 rupees per year in 3 equal installments is given to small and marginal farmer families who are having combined land holding or ownership of up to 2 hectares. How much? Up to 2 hectares. Now, along with this PM Kisan, there is one more scheme at the state level which is similar one. That is Raitu Bharosa. Now, we have discussed about that Raitu Bharosa scheme also in earlier current affair lectures. Okay, so no need to discuss again. But this was the information about the PM Kisan Award. Remember, Nellore and Anantapuram got the award. Now, moving on to the next slide. Now, here the information is about again an award. Now, the Andhra Pradesh CID, this particular CID wing of Andhra Pradesh has won an award for its project 4S4U. Now, what is this award and what is this project of APCID? Now, the Indian Express Technology Sabha Award, this was given to the project 4S4U of APCID. So, what was the award? The award is called Indian Express Technology Sabha Award. Now, this is given in the category of Internet of Things. Now, what is Internet of Things? As I have told you earlier, using Internet, whatever the basic activities of human being are there, if they are made hassle-free, if they are made easy and efficient using the Internet, those services or those methods are called as Internet of Things. For example, you are in your office, but you forgot to switch off your fan in your house. Just using the Android app in your mobile, you can control the electricity at your home. You can control the door locking system, the digital door locking system of your house being at your office. Through internet, this is possible. Now, these kind of technology or invention, these are known as the Internet of Things. So, in the category of Internet of Things, Indian Express Technology Sabha Award is given. Now, this award is given to APCID for its project 4S4U. Now, what is this project 4S4U? Now, this is a concept of digital safety. What it is? It is a concept of digital safety. Now, Andhra Pradesh CID has bagged this award continuously from 2018 till 2021. So, for the year 2018, 2019, 2020 and 2021 also, Andhra Pradesh CID got this award for the project 4S4U. Now, what is 4S4U? The abbreviation of this particular shortcut is Stay Safe, Stay Smart for You. 4S, that is Stay Safe, Stay Smart for You. It is for you. Okay. That means ensuring the safety of public from cyber crimes through internet. That is this particular project called Project 4S4U. It aims at making the public aware of cyber crimes and protecting themselves from becoming victims of online fraudsters. Remember this particular point. Okay. So this project of APCID has won the Indian Express Technology Sabha Award. Okay. Now, here we will discuss about an MOU that was signed between Andhra Pradesh government and Small Development Bank of India, that is SIDBI. So both SIDBI and Andhra Pradesh has signed a pact on setting up of PMU. What is PMU? Project Management Unit. Now, first thing, this particular memorandum of understanding between Andhra Pradesh government and SIDBI is to develop the MSME ecosystem in the state. MSME means micro, small, medium enterprises. So whatever the conditions that are there in the state for these micro, small and medium enterprises, to develop these conditions, SIDBI and Andhra Pradesh government is having an agreement. That is what we are discussing. So as a part of that particular agreement, a project management unit, PMU, will be set up by SIDBI. So using this project management unit, certain schemes and programs would be designed to help the MSMEs of our state. So to provide equity support, to provide interest subvention, to provide resolution of stressed MSMEs, and support these MSME entrepreneurs, this particular project management unit will be set up by SIDBI. So this project management unit, that is PMU, will study whatever the schemes that are being implemented by the state government for the MSME, and if there is any change needed for that particular scheme to be more effective, then that particular change would be suggested by this SIDBI's PMU, that is Project Management Unit. So that is the entire concept, that is the entire essence behind this particular agreement between SIDBI and Andhra Pradesh government. So these were the current affairs of January and February month. So we will discuss about March and April month current affairs in the next lecture. Thank you very much. Keep smiling. All the very best.